What's up, guys? As you can tell, we're back with another Modified Rides podcast. Trying to get through the year here. I know I've skipped a few weeks this year with the SEMA build going on. Kind of wasn't around, couldn't record some stuff. Trying to keep up with these episodes for you guys. We're getting close to Christmas here. On that note, you want to get somebody a Christmas gift? I still have several different color options on some Modified Rides podcast hats. I also have some t-shirts, everything from small. I think I have a couple 3X, couple 4Xs left. I'd have to double check my stash, but either way, got a few shirt sizes. Hit me up to get those. Be a perfect Christmas gift for somebody. Like I said, hats, shirts. This is just one of the color options I have. Well, as I know, you're here to listen to a guest, listen to us talk, chop it up, talk shit, whatever you want to call it. This week I have Lu Perez on. If the name sounds familiar, he's heavily involved in the C10 world right now. He's also had a pretty badass Civic built years ago, was big in the East Coast show scene for a while. He also puts on a little show, as we'll talk about in the episode, a C10 Fall Revival. I say little show sarcastically because it's pretty big show. This past year, I should say this year, 2025, he raised a ton of money for charities. This is one of those shows. It's no spectator fee, no entry. It's basically like a huge Cars and Coffee, classic GM trucks. Awesome show. We're going to get into his story on how he got involved, some of the stuff he's built, how the show started, and how it progressed to where it is now. It's definitely a show that's on my list for 2026. Need to add it to yours. So check it out this week. We have Lu Perez on. So let's check out what Lu has to say. All right, so here we are with Lu from C10 Fall Revival. What's going on, Lu?
What's up, brother? What's up, Brandon? Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me on. Sorry, it's been like a wild goose chase, but man, these last couple months have been pretty crazy. So
I tried to get Lu on before the Fall Revival to kind of drop this where people would be on the route, and for some reason he was busy the week before. Something about setting a show up. I don't know what that was all about. So
yeah, it was just a little event that we do here in North Carolina, and it was just this year was pretty intense leading up to and then after the post show. So it's I'm glad we were able to finally catch each other and make it happen.
of course we'll dive into it, but you just do like, what is this? It's a Sonic drive-in cruise. You do have like 20 vehicles. Is that
It,
about?
It's more like a Walmart parking lot, kind of
Okay,
like
okay.
just like a quarter of the parking lot kind of thing. So in and out.
Gotcha. Just enough so the cops don't run you off, kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, something like that. That's what we like to think. So
Well, we'll dive into that in a little bit. Well, I guess first off, start by telling people that don't know you, which if you're anywhere in the classic truck world or anywhere on the East Coast, if you don't know Lu, you've been under a rock. So the people that don't know you, tell people who Lu is.
man, I'm just I don't know, man. I'm just a truck guy, just like the rest of us, or not even just a truck guy. I mean, I like everything. I'm in my shop now. I've got a couple of, everybody says I'm a truck guy, but man, I'm into everything. I got an IROC Camaro that hopefully I'll get to work on here soon, and I've got a Civic SRT4. Just been into a little bit of everything. Pretty much since high school. But, just in the last, say, 10, 12 years, it's just been all trucks and, C10s, Chevys heavily. Not a Ford guy, just never been a Ford guy. I had one Ford when I was in high school, first and last one. Nothing against Fords. There's some really cool Fords out there, but I'm just a Chevy guy. I'm just a Chevy truck guy. And, the last, like I said, 10, 12 years just really kind of got in heavy. Maybe a few more years than that, but just really got into them, really got into the C10 truck community, the GM truck community. And it's just, it's been a really good community to be a part of and couldn't ask for no better.
I started I guess you'd say my involvement with this industry in the Honda world. And I always forget about your Civic until you post something. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he's got that Civic.
Yeah. Brandon, it's funny. Like, I mean, I guess, since we're talking history here, the first time I ever met you, I believe the first time I met you was at this is a throwback, Scraping the Smokies.
That was my show.
Yep, that was your show
Yep.
back in the day. And the very first C10 that I ever, well, let's say the second C10. It was the first C10 that I was ever going to go like full blown show truck, bag, body. You was actually doing giveaways at that show, and I won the set of compressors, and I won the airbags, and that setup, those bags and the compressors went on that first C10 that I ever had that I bagged and stuff. but yeah, Scraping the Smokies, man, that was an awesome show. But I had my Civic. I hadn't had it painted, I don't know, maybe a few years, and the interior all done. I mean, we went all the way with that car, and I still have it. But that was the first time I met you, and but with that Civic, I mean, we went to shows all over the country, and but Scraping the Smokies was one of them. So
I always have people like, man, you're gonna bring that show back, and I'm like, man, the amount of time, like there's so many other shows out there. Like it's hard, as you know, putting a show on, and one like that that's judged and all that stuff. It was a pain. It was cool, you know. I did it in '06, tried it at a local mall, like kind of rented their back parking lot to see what it would do. I took that over. It's like, all right, now I got to go somewhere bigger. So then I moved it to the ag center here, the local fairgrounds,
yeah,
and did it for a few years, had a run with it, enjoyed it, and just, that was a period of my life. And I honestly forget about that till someone like you brings it up. I'm like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I forgot I used to put
That
shows on.
that was a really cool event, man. That was one of the ones that we really enjoyed going to every year. That was, man, that was, I think that was the first time I ever met Eric from Little Shop. That was when he was, still building mini trucks, and
Yep.
some, hell, I think he was building the Stranger at the
Yeah.
time, and he had some really badass builds in his shop, and but that was old school, man. That was old school mini trucking, and like with my little Civic, I kind of built that. It was mini truck inspired.
Same as my Honda, my
Yeah,
CRX. Yeah.
yeah, and it's so cool, man. When you post something like when I post a picture of my Civic, and people are like, "Oh man, you still have it?" I've had it for 20. I think this will be 26 years now. I've had it since
Wow.
2000. So yeah, so going on 26 years, and I mean, it still looks exactly the same. But it's people still dig them, and it's pretty cool to see and hear that.
I know you mentioned Eric at Little Shop. I remember there's one year he pulled into the show because he was always, a big sponsor and stuff for the show. Always gave him a good spot in the venue. But he was bringing two trailers, and one of his tow vehicles took a shit right before the show. And I remember he pulled into the show with a dually, like a stock dually, pulling a open flat car trailer that had a hitch behind it, pulling another open flat car trailer behind it. And I was like, is that even legal? And he was like, I don't know, but we made it here. And I think he's
Oh
six
man,
hours from me. So
oh
they
yeah,
made that 6 hour trip all the way across I-40 with two
yeah.
trailers behind a dually back then.
Dude, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, one of the memories I have is that Eric, myself, and a couple other guys. I want to say Catfish from No Regrets. He was there. I'm pretty sure he was there. Um, I remember Eric climbing a water tower. That's all I remember. There was a lot of heavy drinking being done back in those days. So, um,
No,
yeah.
not in a mini truck show.
I know there was a water tower involved, but I can't. I'm not going to say anything else.
It's
So,
been past 7 years. I think we're good. So, but
no, it's no, but far as me, man, like I said, the GM truck community kind of got heavy into that.
Well,
Own
let's
quite a.
go back further. Let's go back further in that. I always like to start to what got you into custom vehicles, because I'm guessing it was before
Hmm.
the Civic.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, man. No, the my Honda was. It was like it was the. So for me, the Honda. It was the first car that I ever bought brand new. Because I mean, I graduated in 2000,
A little,
and so I
little
bought the
younger than
car. I bought the car brand new in 2000, and it was the first car that I ever bought with my money. That I financed it brand new, paid for it, and was working on it as I was. I mean, I used it to go back and forth to work, and but then once I started making a little bit of money, then I bought another car, and that was my build. You know what I
now.
mean?
Now, for the younger generation, what y'all don't realize is back then you probably paid in 2000 probably 12 grand for that car.
I paid 13.5 for it. Yep,
Yeah,
brand new, brand new. Yep,
I
thirteen
remember
five.
somebody
Say
bought it.
what?
What was it? I want to say it was like a 98 or something like that. And he bought it for like 99.99 or something. It's like the kids nowadays will never understand how affordable cars were to get into back then.
It was like 13.5, something like that, and my payments were probably like $130 a month. You know what I mean? So it's just like now, I just paid off my Duramax, and I mean those damn payments were almost $800 a month. So it's like
Yep.
it's crazy how times have changed. what with that car, that's the reason it's been so special to me, and I've actually kept it this long. I mean, I've had a lot of people want to buy it over the years, but it's just one of those that it's not costing me anything to sit. It still fires up, it runs. I could get on the road and drive it if I wanted to. But
Taxes
it was just
probably
one.
ain't shit on it either.
Exactly. So I mean, it's like it literally cost me nothing for it to sit here. So it's just one of those cars, man. Me and my wife, we drove it off in our wedding.
Nice.
It's something that it's always been here and it always will be. And but it's just cool that it still hasn't lost its I don't know it's just a part of I guess like our mini truck and like when high beams was out, high
Yeah,
beams
yeah.
and tailgate, high beams and tailgate, man, that was like for the car guys, for the guys that had Civics or the cars of the mini trucking community. High beams, that was always our goal, man. We wanted
Yep.
to be in high beams, we wanted to be there so bad. So I was in there maybe in 2002 2003 and
That was
or
right before it shut down because I had my yellow, that Protege 5 I had it shot for high beams, and like right after it was shot, they shut down.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it was like that was the highlight. And then when high beams went away, there was really nothing else. I mean, there was a few Honda magazines, but it was more of the tuning, more of the speed part of it, and this Civic I had, man, it's a 4 door. It's just a cruiser, you know what I mean? So but the Civic, that was what really got me into coming to shows and like really meeting a lot of people in the show community. And it seems like a lot of the guys and gals that was in the mini truck and stuff, a lot of them are still into mini trucks, but a lot of them, just as many, has went into more of the full size stuff or hot rods, or I guess it's just an evolvement of our age. And some of us get a little bit of money in our pocket and we want to
Yep.
build, you want to go to that next level, or build something else. And I feel like mini trucks. There's some badass mini trucks out here, and there's some mini trucks with a lot of money in them. But I think mini trucks and these Civics and stuff. I think it's kind of that stepping stone while we're younger to then move on to the next level.
Well, I think in a like our age demographic, it was either you started with a mini truck, a Honda, or a Volkswagen. Like those three
That's right.
were the
Yep.
gateway drug to get you into to something deeper. So, like I said,
That's
my
right.
CRX, I bought it my middle of my senior year and slowly evolved it, and it wound up being a mini truck. And that one year they run one car, but it had to be mini truck inspired. Of course, I had full tweed and all that. Now you talk about
Yep.
like Hot Beams magazine. Well, before that, before Super Street and Import Tuner and all that went to the rice type stuff, they were running the shaved door handles and the Doug Starbucks paint jobs. Like that was what got
Yeah.
me hooked. Was like sport compact car. And it's like then you pick an issue up and it's like nothing but race stuff and everything's got roll cages and you're like,
Yeah.
that's not the market that I'm in. So that
That's right.
changed for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and Fast and Furious. That's when that whole wave came through, and I mean, it was thick there for a long time, but
Oh yeah.
once it started to go to more of the race stuff, that was kind of it for me. And then I think after that is when I started personally getting into trucks and really wanting something bagged and wanting something that not that I could fit in, but something that I could relate other than having a Civic. I wanted to get into trucks so I could relate to more of that truck community. And that's kind of how it's evolved and where we are today.
Well, like you mentioned the mini truck stuff, us in their 50s and 40s like yourself and stuff. Like we're not going to get into a traditional body drop standard cab Toyota and try to drive anywhere. Like we've been there,
Yeah,
done that, and it's like way too uncomfortable to do. So I think the progression to the hot rods or the classic trucks, you have a little more room. You have a little more power, kind of thing. It's still just as fun to drive as a mini or a Honda or something, but it gives
yeah.
you more capability to what you're doing.
Yeah, man. It's funny. It's funny you say that, like being comfortable in our age and everything, and thinking back to scraping the Smokies. I remember. I think it was the last year we ever came up there, or it might have been the last year you had it. Man, I just remember it being so hot, and it was on pavement. And me and my wife, we joke all the time. It's like, do you realize we used to pay? We used to pay people, promoters. We paid Brandon Burrell
Yeah,
to come to your event. And we used to pay to go to events and just sit out there and roast all day and not think nothing of it. And
we
now,
still
man,
do.
it is so hard. it is so hard now, like for me to go to an event, and I love supporting any event possible. But man, during the summertime, dude, it is brutal. And I guess it's just age, man. It's like I
Yep.
can't do it anymore. Like it is not comfortable, and it's not a lot of it's just not fun, man.
Well, the
It's
kids
just
are too
not.
soft now to do it, so they're not doing it. They're like, "It's hot. I want air conditioning." It's like
That's
you know as your show promoter, you can't win. Whether there's too much grass,
yeah,
there's too much pavement, there's not enough shade, there's too much shade. Like
yeah.
you can't
Oh
win as
man.
a show promoter.
Oh, dude, man, believe me, brother, believe me. I mean, but yeah, at our event, man, it's just, it's too dusty, or it's too cloudy, or the sky's too blue. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can't make us all happy. But I'm right there with it, man. 'Cause I'll bitch and complain just as much as the next guy. So,
Well, what made you decide to put the Civic on the back burner, and what did you step into to be able to do that?
so the Civic, it just kind of got to the point. I don't know, man. For me, I think I had gotten it to a point, the interior was done, air ride was done, the wheels, the paint, we did everything shaved and body work, paint, custom paint. And I think I just got it to a point to where I said, you know what, I don't want to touch it anymore because, and I've thought about redoing the car, but it just got to the point to where, it was in an era of when those, of, like you said, tweed. Like this one's got full tweed.
Yeah.
Um, it still has was it APC?
Yeah.
All it still got some APC parts on it. It's still got the original Black Widow body kit on it. It's just got those little
That
things that.
you can't buy anymore.
Exactly. It's got those pieces that from that time, in the early 2000s that you just can't replace. And so for me, it was just, it just got to the point where I didn't want to touch it. And I felt like it was time to move on. It was time to do something different. And so then I found a 83 C10, and, and then I just went on from there. The Civic, like I said, I got it done. I felt like it was done.
Ran
I
its
didn't want to
course.
take it. No, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was. I had, man. I'm not a trophy guy. Never really have been. I just like to go. I like to go to the shows, have a good time, at that time, have a lot of cold snacks, hang out with everybody, meet new people, um, and really, man, I guess looking back at that time, I didn't realize it in real time, but what I was doing was building relationships and networking before I even knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So you've done the same thing, whether you know it or not. You've done it throughout your whole career
Yeah.
in this automotive community, and I'm sure you built a lot of relationships before you even knew that you would come back to them later in life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess for me, and being in the mini truck community, at the time, I didn't realize it, but a lot of those folks that were in that time, I would come back to later in life, and we're all still in this together. We're just at different points in our life, to whether some of those folks that I had met then, they own companies now, or they run companies, and they're either sponsors or they're vendors or so on and so forth. But with the car, it kind of ran its course for me, and it's just. It's for me, it's like a time capsule. I look back at it. For me, it's like a comfort food. I come in my
Yeah.
shop, I look up at it, and I'm like, man, that was a really fun time, as a young man in my life. It reminds me of accomplishment. It reminds me of setting a goal and following through. And I just there's no money that can buy it. You know what I mean?
What was your next vehicle after that?
So after that, I bought a 83 square body. And that's what kind of got me into the GM truck community, or the GM truck world.
What year
That
was
was
that?
actually the first. It was a eight. What year did I buy it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Geez, you had to ask. Um, I don't know. It was probably 2006, maybe 2007.
So back when
Um,
they were still cheap.
Oh man, like that truck. I think I give like $2,500 for that truck. Now it would probably be a $25,000 truck. I mean,
You
it was
couldn't
like it
get
was.
a rusted out, tapped out, no floors in it, nothing for $2,500 now.
Oh my god, man. Yeah, $2,500. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, this truck, the my first one, it was like a Carolina blue original. It was original paint. I bought it from an old gentleman in Rockingham County, North Carolina. Beautiful truck, man. And I honestly just bought it just to put my lawnmower in the bed and mow yards. I was still, I was still a young man, just trying to, hustle and make some money here and there. And but then I got it painted, like an idiot. I painted it, put some big wheels on it, lowered it, done a bunch of dumb stuff to it. But within that, I started meeting a lot of people that were into these trucks, and then I
And
had that
that
first
was
one.
kind of early on in the C10 craze. Like I think it had started, but it wasn't what it is now.
Well, and Brandon, we always say it over here on the East Coast. Me personally, I always feel like the West Coast, they're always like 5, 6 years ahead of us,
Yeah.
especially I feel like in the truck community or in the hot rod world altogether. I just feel like they're just always ahead with trends and so on and so forth. But when I had that truck, I was on the forums, the C10 groups, the 67 to 72 forums. That's where I first met Dino. I
Yeah.
seen, Ronnie was on there, Ronnie Wetch, Joe Yezi, all those guys from out west, John Oro, all those guys were on there. But I didn't realize, I didn't at the time, the forums, that was before social media. That was
Yep.
before like Facebook came along, Instagram, any of that stuff. So you really just knew what these guys were posting in literature form. They were just posting what they were doing, how they were doing it, what parts they were using, and so on. So we were getting ideas off the forums, and using the different lower Beltec, where
Yeah.
they were telling us what Beltec kits they were using and this and that.
How to get that
Um,
extra inch out of it and
exactly, man, and it was really cool to hear what those guys were saying and what they were doing because, like I said, we didn't have those photos, we didn't have the social media groups like we have now. Um, so that's kind of how I got into really knowing some of those guys, and just kind of built it from there. But after that first truck, I kind of started buying trucks here and there, doing really kind of flipping them, turning them over. Um, and then, man, I
'cause you were
think,
probably doing the stuff like the lowering and the wheels and stuff that the average Joe that wasn't a quote unquote car guy couldn't do himself. So they were already picking
yeah,
up these vehicles that were a fun driver at that point, I guess.
that's right. That's right. Exactly. So, I mean, we were doing a lot of them here and then just flipping them. So we did quite a few and, we never really had, I think it wasn't until maybe 2015, 2016, when I bought a K5 Blazer 2-wheel drive. It was a 77. And then that was the first one that I really like kept and actually finished. It was featured in Street Trucks.
Yeah.
Solomon shot it down in Battle in Bama, Craig Rowley's show. I think it was like 2018, 2019. But that was one of the ones that I actually felt followed through all the way and finished it, and then like an idiot sold it. But
Well,
I
now we
mean, and
talked
now
about prices. What do you remember what you paid for that Blazer?
so it's funny, man. So I paid $2,500, and at the time I had a Smith and Wesson set. It was a 40 caliber and a 9 millimeter, and the guy that I bought it from took $2,500 and he took the 40 caliber pistol in on trade. So I got a 1977 factory 2-wheel drive, yellow trim, black on black K5 Blazer for $2,500. Just say 3 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, like the guy that owns it now, it still looks exactly the same. The big block, I put a big block in it, still got the intro wheels and everything on it. And I think he's trying to sell it for like right at 40. It's just, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how,
So to
yeah,
tell you how the transition with the prices go, so mine's a 77 as well. Like it was missing two pieces of trim, like the driver doors caved in pretty bad. Well, the guy had already blown it apart, so I had no front fenders on it, no hood, no grill, engine was out of it. He had it all, but it just wasn't on it. The front had a first gen Porterbuilt bag kit. like the steering rack was rusted and locked up. Like it'd been outside for like 9 years. So
Oh
even
man.
with that and that condition, I think I had 7,500 in mine. So, and
I mean,
yours is probably running
instead,
and driving.
oh man, I drove it home. I drove it home that night when I picked it up, and I mean he had the factory console, the factory low boy or the low backs in
Yeah.
the front. I mean I'm looking at the pictures now, but like I said, all the trim, everything was there. Everything. It was in beautiful shape. It was just it was a beautiful truck, and like I said, I brought it home, did a few things to it, kind of took because the trim and stuff that was with it, he didn't have it on it. So when I got it, it was kind of like he was trying to hot rod it, I guess. So when
Yeah.
I brought it home, I kind of de-pawpawed it a little bit, but then I put like the trim back on it. I actually painted it the color, like the actual yellow, the
Caterpillar yellow,
recommendation.
probably.
Yeah, from like Joe Yezi, like on his Square Body Syndicate page, like on the forum days, he would, he actually put the colors that I think it was like, it wasn't Cub Cadet. It was it wasn't Caterpillar. It was another one. The color that we use or that people use, you get that dull yellow, that
Yeah.
dull. It's like a Caterpillar, but it's a really dull yellow mustard color, and just
I,
kind of
I've
put
had
everything back to.
I've had some of the diehard like OG guys like upset that I got rid of my yellow trim on mine. I'm like, it yellow wouldn't have fit the color theme at
Nah,
all.
no,
They're like,
man, no.
why would you get rid of the yellow trim? That's a 1 year only. But it's also the same people
Yeah,
like, well, you bedlined over that red oxide prime underneath it. I'm like, yeah, we cut half
yeah.
the floor out of it. Yeah, of course I'm
That's
gonna.
right. Yeah, dude. I mean, like with yours though, you got a theme with yours, and the way you follow through on yours, man, is like perfect. You know what I mean? But like for the one that I had, I mean, it was just putting it back, putting the yellow trim back on it, painting the Cheyenne badges or whatever to
Yeah,
match. I mean, it just went back the way I felt like it should, and I mean, we had fun with it. We took it quite a
I
few
have one of
places, and
my yellow
there you
badges here
go.
on the desk. So
Is that one of the original badges?
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. That's sweet, man.
I kept those. So you had what probably a Beltec drop on that one, or was that one back?
No, no, it was bagged. We didn't go. We just bagged it to where when we go to a show, it would kind of sit it down really close to the tires. But I could still drive it. I could drive it with it bagged all the way down.
Yeah,
It was just enough, and it had a slight rake. It raked out a little bit in the front. Because it had 22 by 8s in the front, and then it had 24 by 10s in the rear on it. So, but I had the intro. I think they were intro Vistas maybe. But it was a super clean little Blazer. It was fun. We take the top off on it. My little boy, he loved riding in the back, and it was a fun family truck. You know what I
and
mean?
you've gone through a few other vehicles since then, correct?
Yeah. So, man, I've had a lot of OBSs, Suburbans. I've got an OBS extended cab right now that is kind of like one that we just get out and like we went to a show up in Northern Virginia a couple weeks ago, 3-4 hour drive one way. It was like a 8 hour trip round trip, and that OBS, man, it does fantastic. Um, we had a Suburban OBS Suburban '94, super original, truck. We lowered it, did the whole Beltec deal, billet specialties, really, redid the whole interior. I got rid of it a couple weeks ago. I'm working on my wife's truck. She's got a '76. It's a Grecian bronze with the tan two tone.
Okay.
Um, so I'm working on it. My goal for it is we want to get it finished and debut it up in Moab, Utah next May for the C10 Red Rock show.
Yeah.
Chase Clavell and C10 Utah, C10 Club Utah. So I'm working on that right now, doing an LS swap, full ride tech coilover setup, front and rear. Um, it was a long bed. We bought it up in Pittsburgh. It was a long bed truck, but we converted it to a short bed. We had Haas Designs here in North Carolina. Justin Haas, he cut the bed down for us, and so yeah, I'm working on it right now. That's on my winter project, trying to get it wrapped up for the first of the year. But man, we've had a lot of trucks in between, and but we just have fun with them, and of course my 79 Louis. We built it. It was about a 4 year build. and just kind of here and there, man. I'm a family man. I have a little boy, my wife. We have a lot going on. So I built that truck whenever I could over a 4 year period,
Yeah.
and we debuted it at Dino's back in I don't know, it was probably 4 years ago, 21, I believe it was. We debuted it out at Dino's, and it's full. It's bagged. Motor swap. It's a patina truck, but bed's been done. In full interior. I mean, it was a frame off, full frame. Everything's been touched on it.
Yeah.
So it was a really fun build, and it's just one of those truck. It's just one of those, man. We named it Louis after my son, and it'll probably sit in here forever. I'll probably never get rid of that one either.
I know you're
So
part of that North Carolina crew that piles up and goes to those faraway shows like that. I'm hoping once I get mine back home to start hitting some events like that. I mean, I've made that trip to SEMA and back numerous times. It sucks, but
yeah,
it's usually you're by yourself. So if you have a group of people, that I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that. So
No, like I said, man, if you've got your Blazer back, and for May, man, we'd love to have you go with us out to C10 Club Utah show, man. Chase and those guys out in. I mean, the backdrop for this past year was beautiful. I mean, they did a killer job with that show. So I told my wife we've never been to Moab, so we've never been to Utah. Period. So, that's gonna be our one of our trips for next year. We're gonna put it on a trailer. We're gonna head out there, and then my goal is I want to see her drive it out through the desert. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I've
So
spent
that's my goal.
enough time this year on the West Coast. I think I'm going to try to avoid some of that next year. After four months on the West Coast, it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of want to be back home for a minute. I forgot what my bed felt like.
Oh, man, I know every time I seen you, every time you posted something, man, I was like, Jesus Christ, is this cat ever coming home? So and hell, I mean, you're right here in North Carolina too. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's a culture shock too, man.
yeah. I'd book a one-way flight. And my wife be like, "Hey, you coming home this week?" I'm like, "Nope, we didn't get far enough along." The next week, it come along. "Hey, you coming home this week?" I'm like, "Nope, didn't get far enough along." So luckily, she
Oh
was
man.
okay with me being gone that long. But
Hey,
she gets it. She's been around enough of it.
yeah, dude, that's
So.
that's awesome. I mean, that's good. I mean, and that's one thing that helps us. Us as being these crazy car guys. We got to have that good support system, man, and having wives like that don't give us a hard time is that's a that's a win.
Well, I
So
mean, you've worked all day, and here it is at the time of this recording. We're 7:30. So you're after work, you're out the shop, like you didn't come in. She's probably got food waiting on you.
oh man, no, it's all good, man. This is fun. She like just like your wife, man. She's been around. Hell, she was with me at scraping the Smokies, back in at your show. So she's been around this. She's a car. Hell, me and her met. Me and my wife, we met cruising. I'm sure up your way or wherever you grew up at. When you
Yeah.
was first getting into it, I'm sure you had a cruise strip
Oh yeah.
somewhere like we all did.
People would come to
And
Asheville to cruise because the cruising in Asheville was so good.
there you go. And it was the same thing here, man. Like that was where me and her met. We met when we were 16, 17 years old. We met cruising, and then we kind of reconnected a few years later, and then we got married, and boom, here we are. So
I couldn't have.
it's
I
crazy.
couldn't have met my wife at that age because she was still in preschool at that time. So that wouldn't have legally. I don't think that would have worked out so well.
Let's cut that out.
We waited till
No,
she
that's all.
she was grown. I didn't know her till then,
Yeah.
but she was in the cars in high school. I've had her on a couple previous podcasts where her senior project was putting a body kit on her Civic in '05.
Nice,
Like that
nice.
was her. So
Yeah,
she
dude.
was
I
in
mean,
there
that's
before we ever met.
See, dude, that's what it's about, man. Like it's you just don't know how many interactions build relationships and just man, just build family through all this. So that's why the car truck community, the people that aren't involved in it or that just look at us like we're just a bunch of weirdos because we spend way too much money on this shit. Man, they just don't know like what this. You don't know what it is until you're in it. You know.
So we
So
touched on it at the beginning and joked about it. For those of y'all that don't know, we joked about it being a little Sonic cruise in show or a Walmart parking lot show. But Lou puts on probably one of the I'd say premier East Coast. I won't say C10. It's a classic Chevy, classic GM event. I've heard it be dubbed as Dino's of the East Coast kind of thing. So where
pretty cool.
did the C10 Fall Revival come about, and how did you actually step up to say, all right, let's do it?
So man, a lot of people look at the C10 Fall Revival and they just and they think that it's just my event, and I appreciate that, but
But you become the face behind pushing it and all that stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah, no doubt, and that's true, and and that's kind of my part of the whole deal. It's three of us. It's myself, Casey Harris, Harris Art, and then Benny Carlock, and we're just three guys, man, that just kind of met randomly. Like we're three guys that are just from three totally different walks of life, and we came together and we decided that we wanted to do a show, and man, it started back in 2019. So
okay.
2019, I guess even before that, 2018 is the first year that I ever went out to Dino's, because you said something about East Coast, the Dino's East Coast, and some people have said that before. And man, that's actually very humbling, and it's very respectable, because Dino, man, his show is just on a different level. And I'm gonna say to anybody on here, I don't care if you're into Fords,
Yep.
Toyotas, mini trucks, Corvettes, whatever. I don't care what you're into. Go to that event, because it's not a show, it's an event.
That's
It's
the
honestly,
that's the show
it's
that
on.
made me decide to build a Blazer. So I'll blame it on
Oh my
Dino.
god,
But
dude, it's honestly become like a mini SEMA. Like, I mean, it is ridiculous how what him and his team, and his family's done for that event. So in 2018, I went out to Dino's for the very first time. Me and one of my buddies, we didn't have nothing going on, so we caught a flight, flew to Arizona just to see what it was about, and man, it changed the way I looked at events, dude.
same
And
for me.
it just one, like, what event could you go to? I don't care if it's a hot rod or whatever show, you couldn't go. It was unheard of, and it's still kind of unheard of, that you go to an event that's free.
Yep.
And
100%
so,
free.
yeah, and this was when he was having it. He had it at Big Surf that year. It was the first year. I believe that was his first year away from his shop. He
Okay.
was doing it at his shop, and so I think Big Surf was the first event, or that was the first location outside of his shop. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So we went out, and man, like, I just never knew that the community, the C10 trucks over there, was that big. I knew that there was a following. I knew the C10 Club was a deal, but I never knew that there was a show like that. And one, there was two things that stood out. The first thing was it was free. You just walk in and do whatever, and you can leave whenever. It was like a Cars and Coffee, but
Yep.
it was GM trucks. And so that was the first thing. And then, like, when lunchtime rolled around, I don't even think Dino had food trucks. I don't even think there was food trucks on site that year. And lunchtime rolls around. I'm a big kid, I mean, I get hungry. It's an investment, man. So we're walking around, and we're gonna leave and go grab some lunch. And as we're leaving, we see a bunch of tables set up, and there's just like mountains. There's mountains of pizza boxes, like Domino's or Papa John's or
Yeah.
something. And we see people lining up. So we get in line, and we're like, well, shit, we'll just buy some pizza here, because we haven't even finished looking at everything. So we're standing in line, and we finally get up to the front, and I don't even know if Dino was standing there. He might have been standing there, and somebody was handing out plates, and they had all these pizzas opened up, and it said, just grab what you want. And we already had money, like, ready to give to them, and they were like, oh no, man, no, it's all free. I'm like, free? They didn't even have donation jars. So I was like, well, shit. So we got a couple pieces, and we were respectable, and or respectful, and we went about our business. But on the flight home, I just thought to myself, like, shit, man, like, why can't we do that on the East Coast? Like, there's got to be as many trucks on the West Coast as there is. I mean, on the East Coast as there is on the West
Yeah.
Coast. There's got to be. So when I got back home, I just couldn't stop thinking about Dino's. I couldn't stop thinking about the event. So then, fast forward to 2019. This was probably it was Father's Day weekend of 2019. There's a guy here in Mooresville area. His name's Steve Graham, Piedmont Traction. You look him up on Instagram, Facebook, Piedmont Traction. So Steve does a Father's Day cruise and truck show every year at his house. So I had never been before. I seen it on Instagram, Facebook, and So I decided to go. I didn't have nothing to do for Father's Day like most of us. We're either in the garage or maybe
Yeah.
doing something by ourselves. You know what I mean? Just giving ourselves some time. So I decided to drive my Blazer, drove my Blazer up there and hung out for the day. Well, just by chance, I met Benny Carlock. I met him there. Casey Harris, I had already known Casey previously from some interactions and stuff at other events. And Casey and I had already talked about maybe doing an event because I knew that he did artwork, he did design work. He'd already done design work for Ronnie Wetch when Ronnie had Yellowstone, the crew cab, square body. He had done some really, really cool stuff. And Casey, at the time and still is, he's the head of state C10 club for North Carolina. So like I said, at the Piedmont Traction Show, me and Benny started talking, and we started talking about let's try to do an event. And so Benny said, "Well, I got a venue, at the time, and still Benny works. He does concrete. He works for a gentleman out in the Oakboro area, Cody Smith, and Cody has a really beautiful piece of property. And he said, I got a venue. He said, we just need to get people here. And so we all met at Smith Concrete one weekend. This was probably still in July, August. And we sat down and we said, okay, what's the recipe here? What do we need? And Brandon, you've done shows. You need facilities, you need food, you need a venue. That's about it. I mean, everything else everything else, you just kind of work in. Of course, you want sponsors, you want vendors, you want all this and that. But when you first start out, and especially if you don't know a lot of people, you're just kind of winging it. But like I said, you got to have somewhere for people to use the bathroom. You got to have something for people to eat, and you just got to have somewhere to have it, right?
Yeah.
And so we laid all that out. We said, okay, we can do that, no problem. So now remember, this is July, August, and we're looking at having it in October. And that's not a lot of time to put an event on. So, but in our mind, we were thinking, okay, well, if we're going to do an event, what makes it successful? And for us, we were going to do it for free. So that was right out the gate. No charge for spectators and no charge for people bringing their trucks in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then the second part is how do we feed these folks? We're not going to have food trucks. So Tony Smith, which Tony, he's no longer with us. He passed a few years ago. Tony was like a dad to all of us. I mean, Tony was just one of those really good people. But Tony Smith is Cody Smith's dad. Tony, he stepped up and he says, how many Boston butts do you guys need? So he brought the cookers out and he cooked, I don't know, say 25 butts that day. He fed everybody for free that day. So when we first met, we told each other like what makes it successful. And he's like, well, shit, if we have 50 trucks show up, we did a good job, but in reality, if it was just 5 or 10 of us there, who cares? We'll all drink a beer and we'll have a good time and say it was successful. Well, our dumbasses, we had 230 trucks that year. Our first year, 230 trucks. But I will say from August, say August 1st till the week before, the show, I mean, we promoted the shit out of it, man. I was on Instagram and Facebook every single day, putting it out there. We were sending out little stickers, C10 Club North Carolina stickers and letters. Like me and my wife, man, we hand wrote letters we found a couple notebooks the other day with like 400 and some addresses of people that we sent out handwritten letters and stickers to saying, thank you. Here's you a C10 Club North Carolina sticker for free. We're doing a show in October. Come and join us. I'll be damned, man. That shit worked. Just a token that small really got people interested in something that was different. People are still trying to figure it out. Like, you mean to tell me I can come to it?
No. Why would you do the show? What made you decide to do the show for free and make it the Dino's formula versus doing the traditional formula with judges and trophies and entry fees and all that stuff? What made you go that direction?
It was, and this is not in a gay way, but it was the way it made me feel, man. The emotion that I felt being at Dino's, and like Dino didn't know me from nobody. Like I'm some weirdo from the East Coast, but he made me feel like family. He made my buddy Tim, he made him feel like family. So it's like, man, that one interaction with Dino, being able to go into that show and be able to have lunch for free. Well, it wasn't even the lunch; it was just being able to go in there and not pay anything. So for me, that $20 or $30 that I saved from paying a gate fee, I took that money and bought a T-shirt. I took that money and probably bought a couple of koozies and maybe a sticker packet. So that was kind of our formula. That was kind of what drove us to do what we wanted to do over here. And Casey was all on board with it. He says, "Yeah, man." He said, "Free's the way to go." So,
It
and
seems that
Benny was just along.
it seems that's the way the whole car scene is going. Like there's more meats and cars and coffees now popping up than there is shows because
Mhm.
people just want to go hang out. Yeah, you got the few people that's like, I got to have that $20 trophy. Like I have to have it to put on my mantle. But it's like
Yeah.
us they're older, I think, like to go and the camaraderie and to hang out,
Yeah.
versus trying to make sure it's perfect to, everything's wiped right to get that judge to look at it. So I
Well,
think that you were early on that formula to do that because there seems to be a lot more of that growing in the last few years.
and too, Brandon, look, man, there's a lot of events out here that there's a time and place for everything. And there's a lot of wonderful shows out here, like Craig Rowley, man, Alabama. That dude, him and his team kill it. I love Craig and his family, man. They do such a great job. And I've been to, I'm kind of ashamed to say this, Craig. I hope you're listening, and I know you'll see it. But I haven't been to Battle Alabama since it was at the Battleship, and I feel so bad for that. It just hasn't worked out, in our schedule to go
Well,
the last couple.
if he don't listen, I'll make sure I do a snippet of that and tag him in this post.
Oh, please do. He'll love it. But man, Craig and his show, man, like even to see what Craig's turned his show into, like Craig's show was awesome at the Battleship, but man, now his show's just on a different level. I mean, Craig's getting up there with like Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Like, Craig's got a really amazing thing going, and I mean, a lot of respect to Craig. And I asked Craig a lot of questions when we first started getting into doing our event, and I went to Craig and asked him a few things, and I called Craig a couple times, and Craig remembers. There was times that we wanted to, maybe step away from. I mean, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
And it's not always easy, but that one interaction, man, with Dino and his crew out there, that really made me think, like, man, there's not an event like that on the East Coast, and I think we need that. And it just so happened. Well, then COVID came around the next year. People weren't doing anything. Couldn't do anything, and it just, I think the stars aligned, man, and it just really worked. And after that first year, people were so mad that they didn't come because they seen it on social media. They seen, like
Didn't you have a
Robert.
couple like drone shots or something where you had it at?
Yep.
I
So we
remember
had
seeing
yeah, so we I think it was Landon, one of our buddies, Landon. I'm pretty sure he's the one that had his drone that year. But like some of the trucks you couldn't even see because they were in the building. But like I said, having 230 trucks like we didn't know what to do. We didn't know. We was chickens with our heads cut off because we had guys coming from Georgia, we had guys coming from Maryland, Connecticut, um, Virginia, Florida. We had people coming from everywhere, and we had no idea that people even knew what we were doing or how we were doing it, and we still don't. But once people seen that it was a real deal and that you could come and have a good time for free, um, people really took to it. You know what I mean? And like I said, for us, our recipe is, like how we sell it to the vendors, man, is that, not having, like I said, not having that entry fee, not having that spectator fee, not having to pay to park, like
yeah.
some of these big events. My thing is that if you're a driven clothing, if Tara and Harvey are selling T-shirts, well, that family of four just saved $120 at the gate.
More
Well,
chance of that.
hopefully they'll go and spend that money with Tara and Harvey, and they're gonna buy some T-shirts or some beanies or a hoodie or something. If they buy one piece of clothing, that's one sale that they've made that they may not have made if there was a gate charge at the gate. You know what I'm saying?
Or a $30
So
parking fee.
that's right. So I mean, that's kind of how we look at it, and I think that's very attractive to our vendors. I mean, so then we can have 10 T-shirt vendors or 20 T-shirt vendors. It doesn't matter. It's like there's money to go around. People are going to spend the money. And for the East Coast, like this year, we'll speed up if that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll speed up to this year from
Well,
2019.
before you get to that, when did you move to where you're at now?
Okay. All right. So we
When did you
did 20. So in the first at the first venue in Oakboro, we did 2019, 2020, and then 2021. So 2021, that was our third year, and I think we had gotten up to like 800 trucks. We were over 800 trucks our third year, and we gambled. We gambled pretty heavily. I don't know if you're a gambler, but we gambled pretty heavily with that location because that location was one way in and one way out. And if we'd have ever had an emergency, we would have been in big trouble. Now you got to think too, it was private property. So, like when COVID hit, the government couldn't touch us because it was private property. So, we got to
Yeah.
do a lot of things. We got to do a lot of things on that property that helped us out. And the Smith family, man, they were so gracious to basically let us throw a party with 800 of our friends or thousands of our friends for 3 years. And,
It's just family.
so it's just family. It's just a family cookout. And so for us, that third year, we said, you know what, we've got to change venues because we're getting too big. We had vendors wanting to come, but we just didn't have no room for them. It was either
Yeah.
bring on more vendors and take away trucks, or bring on trucks and go down on vendors. But the catch 22 is that our vendors, they're what pays for the event. Since we're not bringing any revenue in from gate fees and all that. So we decided that we needed to change venues. So we did some searching. We went around, tried to, talk to the leaders of Stanley County, the county that we were hosting in, which is where Oakboro's at. And man, nothing really worked out. And Brandon, like, shows that are successful, they have a vibe to them.
Yeah.
The venue is probably more of the show than the show itself. Like, I feel, like let's go back to Craig, like when he was at the Battleship. Man, I think for me personally, I think that was probably the coolest venue that I've ever been to, as far as a truck show. Now I know he's at Talladega now, and it looks amazing. He's doing the whole Ricky Bobby deal, and
Yeah.
he's a showman, and it shows. But
Or
I think
like a mini Nats or a Showdown in the Valley that's in Maggie Valley. The Maggie Valley has that vibe that brings the people in.
that's right. Yeah, I mean, look, man, if Jason Bell took Maggie, if he took Mini Nats to a fairgrounds, it just wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the same. And I mean, look, he would still get his following, but the show would lose its vibe. Maggie Valley is a vibe, man. He's killed it with that show as well. And so for us, we kind of had that backyard family reunion, uh like cookout vibe, like
Yeah.
you invite all your family over, your homies, and you just have some beers and cook out and have a good time. And it's like, so when we knew that we needed to leave the first venue, there was no way we were going to go to a speedway. Like, we talked to Charlotte Motor Speedway, we talked to a drag strip or an airport. We knew we were going to grow from the trajectory that we were on for the first 3 years. We knew it was just going to go up. So we were trying to plan long term, so we weren't jumping from venue to venue to venue every year. That's just not something that we wanted.
Can kill a show.
So it'll kill a show in a heartbeat. So for 2022, we couldn't find a venue. The county didn't really want to work with us, which was crazy. So we ended up postponing it. So for
I remember
2022,
that.
we didn't have an event. So for us, we were kind of nervous. We told each other, like, we're gonna gamble here with 2022. If we don't have it, we're either gonna lose our following, or people are gonna yearn for it, and
Miss
they're
it.
gonna come out. Exactly, they're gonna miss it, and then they're gonna come out even heavier for 2023. And so with that year that we had off, we found the Denton Farm Park, and the Denton Farm Park, it has camping, it has a lot of amenities that
How
we couldn't.
how far is it from the first venue?
So so if you're coming from the old venue to the new one, you're looking at about a half hour.
So it's in the same
But
vicinity.
oh yeah, it's just one county over, so
Okay.
it's not far at all. For me, it's actually about 30 minutes closer. So I was an hour and 20 minutes at the other venue. So now I'm only like 40 minutes. So it's not that it's better for me. Sorry
Yeah.
guys, it's just better for me.
Screw the
But
people.
when we
It's one of the
yeah,
show promoters that matters.
so, sorry man, sorry guys. But when we but we found the Denton, well, Casey found the Denton Farm Park. He had been there quite a bit, you know, for some events, and you know, we went up to one of their yearly events just to kind of see how it was ran and see
Laid
how it
out.
was laid out. Yeah, see how it was laid out, and kind of pregame it a little bit, and then once we decided, okay, this could work, we went and had a conversation with the farm park, and you know, the folks that run the farm park, I'm sure they looked at us like, man, we got these guys. Like, they don't know what they're doing. You know, they don't. And she even said it. The lady that runs it, she's like, well, we thought you guys were just like a little, you know, parking lot church on Sunday kind of car show. We were going to have maybe a handful of vehicles. Well, you know, so we sold it to them, told them what we wanted to do, and that we wanted to lease the property. And I think we're the only event that actually leases the property, and our crew runs everything. Like the farm park, the only thing the farm park touches is the camping outside of the gates. They control all that. They make their money off of that. But everything else is ran by myself, Benny, Casey, and our team. We run everything. So we seen that there was amenities to it. You know, they have camping on site, facilities on site. They have restaurants on site. You know, so there was a lot of,
Yeah.
and it's like 100 and some acres. So we knew that we have room to grow. So yeah, man, come 2023, you know, we knew we were going to be there, and we started pushing it at the very beginning of 23, and people started getting excited. So I think 23, I believe we had over 1,200 trucks. So our trajectory was still going like this, you know. So then 24, I believe we had right at 2,000 trucks. And then 25 this year, we had over 2,400 trucks.
Wow.
So it's still growing, and you know, it's even our vendors, like our vendors, you know, that's one thing that it's always been hard for us to kind of to try to get a lot of the vendors from, like, you know, the middle of the country to the West Coast, because SEMA's around the same
2 weeks
time, so it's
before that kind of thing.
and what a lot of people do is they'll go to SEMA, hang out, and they wait for Dino's.
That's what I did.
So yeah. I mean, so you know, so it's hard for us to get some of those vendors from the West Coast. But you know, the thing that we've always told each other is that, man, a lot of people may not realize it, but North Carolina, you know, we're NASCAR country, and there's a ton of vendors here. There's a
Yep.
ton of very, very skilled vendors, shops, custom shops, fab shops, paint, interior, you name it. I mean, Apex Leather. I mean, there's a ton of folks here in our state and surrounding states. I mean, look at AMD. They're down in Georgia. You know, they're just a few states away. Tennessee, South Carolina, and Virginia. So there's a lot to offer here in in this side of the country. So so we really started focusing on like our local vendors, and we have since day one. But like this year, you know, GSI, they came out from Arizona. They came out and set up some chassis. Um, UMI came down from Pennsylvania. You know, we're growing. We're not only on the truck count, not only on the vendor count, spectator count, but you know, one thing that a lot of people, I don't think people tend to forget it, but I know like some of the newer folks that we bring on, the big thing is that, you know, there's not many times in our lives that we can make a difference to help other people out. And I think a lot of times we take for granted what we're given. You know, we're given, you know, you woke up this morning, you was able to breathe freely,
Yep.
walk, talk, sit here and shoot the shit with me. And but a lot of people can't do that. A lot of kids can't do that. A lot of kids, you know, they it's not their fault, but they run into issues when they're born, or, you know, they have accidents. Families have accidents, and they need help to recover from that. So our team, we decided to take this opportunity that we've been given to have an event and really try to give back to the community, and we asked for donations. So
When did you
that's
start that? Year one or once you moved?
no. So I think that started in year two, but
Okay.
it started on a really small scale. Some of the little girls that we have, like some of the daughters, I should say, of some of the guys in our core group. They actually started. They sold tea and lemonade, and I think they raised like $1,100 at that
Wow.
second event. Yeah, just selling like one guy. I know Benny always says, or Casey, one of them. They say one guy walked by and said, "Man, this is the most expensive cup of tea, or the best $100 cup of tea I've ever bought." And but man, it just that showed us that, man, we could do a whole lot more with what we've been given here. If those little girls could raise $1,100 over lemonade and tea, imagine what we could do if we actually promoted it and put it out there and posted it. Like, and here we are, what we've done. I think we started. I think like the first year which was maybe the second or third year. I think we did like $5,000. Then we raised $10,000, and then it just kind of went up from there.
And
Um,
where do you donate the money to?
so we've got two charities. So the Ronald McDonald House is the first charity, and the
To the
reason
Dig with
being is
Kids.
because yeah, and me and my wife, me and her lived at the Ronald McDonald House in Durham for 6 months
Okay.
because my little boy, he was born with some heart defects, and he was in the hospital, and so. I don't know if you've ever priced staying at a hotel for 6 months, but it gets pretty damn expensive.
I can imagine.
I mean, you've stayed in your fair share of
Oh yeah.
hotels. So, we didn't even know the Ronald McDonald House existed until we actually had to live there. And that really, until you live an event or until you live an experience, you just have no idea, man. You have no idea what and how in the blink of an eye, your life can change. And so for us with the Ronald McDonald House, that has personal ties to us and our family. So that's the first. Charity that we give to, and the second one is the Butterfly House. So the Butterfly House is a child advocacy center in Albemarle, North Carolina, and
Okay.
what they do is they take in kids that have been abused, whether it's sexually abused or physically abused. That go through traumatic events, just hardships. And they take those kids in, they counsel them, they figure out, they just they try to find them the best route forward. They work with a lot of the community members, and it's a great charity. It's a great place to try to give back, and that charity has some ties to one of the guys that helps us out. His wife, she's really good friends with the lady that runs the place.
Okay.
So it just made perfect sense.
Now,
Um,
I know you said that like each year it goes up. I didn't make it this year because I was already back in Vegas trying to get the Blazer wrapped up. I'm watching it online, and like what was the week
mhm.
or two after, you're like watching like, hey, here's our donation record, and the next day you're like, oh, here's the donation record. So tell us how that transpired this year. To you had like crazy numbers for donations, correct?
Yeah. So going from that very first year raising $1,100 to this year, we raised 108,000.
So repeat that.
Um,
You raised how much?
$8,000.
Which is
So and
ridiculous
that's
for any show in the country to raise that for a charity like this. That's
yeah.
beyond awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but it shows you where people's heart is, and that was, we set a goal, and it was just it was just us, man. We posted it saying, hey guys, I think we can reach 100,000, and a lot of events, a lot of shows out there now, you know who you are. You're always talking about, man, we had this many trucks, or we want to have this many, and that's great. That's a great goal. Set you a goal. But at the end of the day, man, I think with our event, I think people have taken ownership more of the donation amount that's going to be raised or that is being raised versus how many trucks are there, like the quantity of
Yeah,
vehicles.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. People really show, like when they come to our show, man. They show us where their heart is at that gate. And they've really, like I said, they've taken ownership of the event. They've made the event theirs, and that's what makes it so fun for us, and it makes us feel great because I feel like we're doing something. We're doing something special, and we're doing something to give back to the community. And when the community can get behind it and support it and bring $108,000, man, it's you don't know the feeling until you're in it. Like when we went to the way we broke it up this year, we give $74,000 to the Ronald McDonald House, and we gave $34,000 to the Butterfly House. And I
Okay.
know for new folks, I know for new folks that are maybe listening, or folks that maybe has never been to the event, they're like, how does that make sense? Why don't you just split it down the middle? So last year, how we split it, we give, I think it was 50,000 to the Ronald McDonald House, and it was 10,000 to the Butterfly House. So we basically added $20,000 extra to both of them. And the reason being is because the Ronald McDonald House, we kind of started that first, um, on, in front of the lemonade, the lemonade from the second show. So we started really giving a heavy donation to the Ronald McDonald House, and it's just kind of how our goal is to have it straight down the middle. So maybe for 2026 we can raise 200,000, and then we give 100,000 here and 100,000 here.
So,
So
and,
that's
and
our goal.
to reemphasize that, you were able to get together $108,000 with no gate admission for spectators, no show vehicle admission, no parking admission. That's just the people in this classic GM truck community coming together to give, that's awesome for sure. I don't think there's any
It,
other
it's
shows that pulls that kind of numbers like that.
There's I've never heard of it. I mean, I've never heard of it at all. And that's the thing, man. That's why it's so refreshing to us, and it makes us feel so good. It does something to your heart, man, when you can pull those kind of numbers, and it's something to be proud about. Like when we went to the Ronald McDonald House, he's like the East Coast, he's some type of, he runs like the East Coast for Ronald McDonald House. He's a representative. His name's OE. He comes down. He's came down like the last 3 years, and he meets our team whenever we present the check. He always comes down and sees us. And so he kind of put it into perspective for us this year with the Ronald McDonald House. So that $74,000, he done some quick math for us. He said that $74,000 will pay for 600 and I think 26 nights stay at the Ronald McDonald House. 626 nights.
Yeah.
So that when you think about it, that's potentially 626 families, mothers and fathers, fathers, and maybe one kid that will be closer to a child in the hospital
when they need them the most.
Man. So I mean, that right there, if that doesn't do something for your soul, man, I don't know what will. And like you, Brandon, what you do for the truck, the community in general, with what you've done with your photo shoots and your coverage and your articles, and just the impact that you've made in the scene itself. The older we get, I feel like we start to have to think about legacy. You know what I mean? Like, what are we leaving? The truck community, car community has given Brandon Burrell so much, and you've given so much back. So I think we all have to start thinking, like, what have we done for our community? What have we done? I mean, what have we given back? When I'm no longer here, when Casey, Benny, when Brandon's no longer here, a lot of these guys and girls that's in this community, when we're no longer here, what are we going to be remembered of? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be remembered as just somebody that had a cool truck and just went here and went there. I want to be remembered for my son and for the people around me that, Lou tried to make a difference with his team, Casey and his team and Benny and his team and our C10 Fall Revival community team. We made a real difference. We didn't line our pockets.
Yeah.
We made a difference in the community. We brought people together. We brought people from different states that may have never even made contact with each other. And now they're friends on Instagram, or they're friends on Facebook, or they may see each other at a show and they park together and their kids play together. You know what I mean? So we just we took advantage of the situation and we ran with it.
So what's the story with this year's show? Tell us the dates and any changes and stuff you got coming.
So here, I got this. This is the 16th and 17th, October 16th and 17th, number 7. So we've kind of ran with that little gig for the last couple of years. We did 5, 6, now 6, 7. So number 7, October 16th and 17th, Denton Farm Park, same place, same time. We've got a few changes coming. So, excuse me. Sometime in January, we're going to be making some announcements. We're not going to make them too premature, but we've got some things that we're going to change. Nothing bad. It's all positive. We're probably going to grow our swap meet area. Our vendors, we're going to change up the vendors a little bit. Still a lot of the same vendors that you're used to. We're going to bring some more new vendors on. This year our band canceled on us last minute, so we didn't have our band for Friday night. We're gonna plan on getting that back for Friday night for next year. Um, we got some cool stuff for the vendors set up. But really, man, just the same feel. We're just trying to stay true to what we are and what our roots are, man. And people seem to like the recipe. We're just trying to, every year, try to tweak little things, make it better. Man, if there's any ideas that anybody has, we're open ears, man. We're not opposed to any of that.
Well, vehicle wise, what vehicles can come in? Because I know you've made posts about it. It's like, hey, can I bring my Ford in? Can I bring my my 2026 truck in? Like, what are your
Yeah.
requirements to park inside the venue?
So for us, and look, man. So for us, it's on the flyer every year, and we say 1918 to 99 2000 OBS. And if you bring your cat eye truck, that's okay. Like we're not opposed to that. This is where it gets cloudy. And look, there may be somebody listening to this, and if you get mad at me, whatever. But squatters, man, that's just not our crowd. That's
A
just
lot of
not our
shows would
crowd,
ban
man.
that. Yeah,
It's just not our crowd. And there's a place and an event for those guys. Look, guys, I'm not saying you're bad people, but the vibe and the crowd that you bring or that you attract, it's just not for our event. And that's the reason we put a year cap on it. But every year, man, we always have some cat eye trucks. We have some newer model trucks. We have 2025s, 2024s. This year, we had a few, and that's fine. Fords. Now, I will say every year we'll invite maybe one or two little Easter egg, kind of trucks. We say like, I think 2 years ago we had Sean Ryder bring out his SEMA build. It was like was a Ford F-350
dually.
dually. I mean,
Yeah,
beautiful truck. Yeah, beautiful truck. One year we had a little Toyota. One of the guys from Pebble Pushers brought out his little Datsun, and
yeah.
so we always have. And,
I
and
saw
it's
Bubba, and I was like, man, I said
yeah,
that's not a classic truck. He goes, it's a Chevy
yeah,
Love. I'm like, it's a Datsun. He goes,
yeah.
well, it looks like a Chevy Love.
Man. But going back, dude. Those guys, the Pebble Pusher guys,
Sure.
the no regrets, dude. I mean, I hope they understand. That's just showing those guys respect, because they done
OGs
so
for
much for
sure.
our dude. They done so much for us, man. Coming up, and it's just a show of respect. Like, hey, man, bring your stuff out, and we'll personally invite those guys. So, and look, man. At the end of the day, these hardcore C10 guys, they hate it. But when they take a photo and they post it on Facebook or Instagram, it's just nothing but positive for us. Whether it's negative or positive, it's
Yep.
doing us good because they're talking about it. You know what I
Bad
mean?
press is
So,
good press.
but that's kind of that's the parameters we try to stay in. We got plenty of room. We got more room to grow. So I mean, hopefully this year, we get past 2,400. If we don't, if we go down to 1,500, who cares? We're
Well,
still gonna have a good time. We're gonna have fun, and yeah, man,
you
we're excited.
said you got announcements coming sometime in January. Where can people find these announcements when they come out?
So you can Facebook. We have a Facebook group, C10 Fall Revival. We have a Instagram page, C10 underscore Fall Revival on Instagram. Hadn't really got into the whole TikTok stuff, but really the Facebook groups, Facebook page, we seem to get a lot more traction on.
Yeah.
Instagram, we get pretty good traction, but I think with Facebook, a lot of the older guys and girls they tend to use that a lot. I mean, I do.
We're
But
old though, so
hey, man, we're all there. So, like I said, we get a lot more traction on Facebook. So the whole Facebook Live and stuff, I think we'll
okay.
probably do some live video. I think we'll utilize that more for 26.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what was the dates on that again?
It's October the 16th and the 17th of 2026. Thursday, the 15th, that's always our vendor setup day. Always remember, guys, if you want to come in and set up on Thursday, we will announce a time for you guys to come in and set up. You can bring your trailers. You can go ahead and get your trailers parked for the weekend. You can go ahead and bring your trucks in the gate, find you a nice spot to park on Thursday. Like I said, we always, this year we set a time, say 5 p.m. You guys can go ahead and come in because we try to give as much dedicated time to our vendors as possible to let those guys get set up and let our setup team get those guys set up.
Some of those
But
have big trailers they need to park with awnings, so they have a pretty good, obstacle trying to turn trailers and stuff around with a bunch of other stuff
That's right.
randomly in the way.
That's right, and that's the only thing. We just got to show our vendors respect, and we got to show them the courtesy and give them time to get set up. But hey, man, if you guys are coming in from out of town, or even if you're local and you want to come in and get set up on Thursday, come in. Come in, set up, walk around, come hang out with us. Watch and see the workings and all that stuff. Just really don't get in our way. But man, we're all about having a good time, and but it's from Friday to Saturday. Like I said, Friday night we're planning on having a band this year on Friday night. Saturday will be a hangout all day, and then it's a wrap, man. So
I've noticed a
it'll be a
lot of
good
these
time.
classic vehicle events are all going Friday, Saturday now versus the standard Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, and I think when we first started, because I think the first 2 years of our event we were just a single day, and then we moved it to a 2 day because it was getting so big, and not only that, but we had folks coming from out of state, so we decided to do Friday and Saturday because like us all that have traveled to these shows, Sunday gives us a day to get back home, try to get our clothes washed, whatever, and try to get ready. Because I mean, hey, look, man, we all got nine
Yep.
to fives. We all got something that we got to do. So we feel like Sunday gives you a chance to get back home, get refreshed, and get back to it on Monday. So Friday and Saturday it is.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and going over this. Like I said, I know I tried to get you on before the event to kind of get a little pre-press on it, but now this
Yeah,
drop get kind of in between the 25 show and 26 show gives people a, oh yeah, I forgot. I need to remember
yeah,
January is going to release some stuff.
yeah.
So
Well,
good to
I'm
get
I
some of your backstory too.
No, I really appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you. And I appreciate you, man. I know we were playing phone tag back and forth, man, but it was just, I mean, you know how the schedules and stuff
Yep.
works. And, but I really appreciate what you do, man. I love your channel. I love your content. The people, Ronnie Wetch, I don't
Well,
know, man.
sometimes I have to
Ronnie,
have some of those people that, the bottom of the barrel guys. I still have to get some of those guys involved.
oh, I got to give Ronnie a hard time. I love that dude, man. He's one of my bald brothers. You know what I mean? So,
Well, when he
I
popped
love
up
that
and
cat.
said, "Hey, we talked at SEMA," he's like, "Man," he's like, "we need to get together." He's like, "Do a dual podcast." He's like, "Because we're like, I would build something, and he would be like, 'Hey, I'm doing that too. How did you do this?' Or he would do something, and be
Yeah.
like, 'Hey, I'm at that same stage. How did you do that?' So we
Yeah.
bounced and talked a lot this year. So it just made sense for us to tag team on that for sure.
Dude, Ronnie, he's one of those pioneers, man, of our C10 community. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, a lot of people, man. He's a good character. So I'm definitely I'm gonna hit you up, man. I need to talk to you about some vendors and stuff for this year. I wanna
Okay,
change a few things up, and I might bat some ideas off of you.
that works for me. Well, I appreciate you
Cool.
coming on, and we'll can't wait to see you at the show this year.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Have a good evening.
You too.
Yes, sir.